And welcome to the Midday Show. I am Jeff Everett. He is Mark Messina. The Midday Show presented by Weis Markets. We're coming up on the holidays. Be sure to go to Weis Markets, get all your grocery needs, everything that you need for the holidays, and go to NorthcentralPa.com for all of your local news. I have a few headlines for you, nothing crazy. You wanted to dive back in about a segment we did yesterday very quickly, and then we have a question of the day. If you could be anybody, who would you be?
Me.
How are you feeling today?
I feel good. It's cold outside though.
You know what? I have not asked you that question in like a week and a half.
Because you don't care.
You didn't. Well, here's what's funny. You didn't whine. I was going to give you credit. I was going to be like, you didn't whine. You didn't complain. And before I could even compliment you, that's because you don't care. Ah.
Am I wrong?
I didn't say you were wrong.
So anyway, before I even get to it, this is why I'm wearing my glasses today. Because
it.
I'm trying to artificially look smarter. Because when we were doing our what was it? Not dying names. Endangered names.
Yeah.
I'm reading through the endangered names list, and they're listed 1 through 15. So I started 15 to 1, and we did both boys and girls.
Yes.
I get a text from my daughter, who's home from college, and over break, they have nothing better to do than, watch us. Because, I mean, they should watch us every day because we're brilliant.
And we're almost Emmy-nominated.
Almost Emmy-nominated. So my daughter texts, I don't know what word whether it was Einstein or blockhead or whatever. She goes, they're not listed in any order other than alphabetical. And I went back and I pulled the list up and I was like, oh, she's right. They are listed alphabetically. Because we started at 15 and worked our way to 1. And
I told you the thing that impressed me most about that is she did not look at the article to figure that out. She only listened to us and realized that the names were in alphabetical. And here's the other thing too. They were in reverse alphabetical.
Right.
Like, it's not like she heard us say Ashley and then we said,
Barbie.
Betty. And then, right. Like, it was reverse alphabetical and she caught on to that, which is beyond impressive.
In defense of you did not see the article. I did, and I was reading it. You were just listening. But I am the genius who read it off and had no idea. And there were 2 lists. Not just there was boys' names and girls' names.
It was numbered though, right?
They were numbered.
Okay.
Yes, like 1 through 15.
Well, if they're in alphabetical order, why would you number them? That would be my defense. If I were your attorney, that would be my mental defense.
And I need a defense because they were in alphabetical order.
Have we gotten rid of alphabetical order in like schools and stuff? Or do people still line up single file like A to Z?
Oh, I hope not. It's like the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, but it's so unfair.
So?
The alphabetical order in school drove me nuts. And I was an E. Like, I was somebody who got to be in the front of it. And I would kind of be like, this is crazy that this
No,
is
I
how
get
we
it.
decide.
And there were the smart teachers. I shouldn't say that because it's going to offend
You're going to get yourself in trouble.
In elementary school, you would do reverse alphabetical order.
Sure.
And then because you don't even have to be when we're in normal alphabetical order, who am I between? So.
But what if you're like an M?
In the same, like me, you're still in the middle. It's fine. Right. You want to know what's crazy? My senior year of football, we had a bunch of seniors. We did not have a small senior class. And I was the last alphabetically. Out of 15 kids, all of them were in the first half of the alphabet. So we didn't have a Smith, a Williams, a Tom, nothing.
You're pro alphabetical order.
It works. I think in schools too, it's good for it reminds kids to learn the alphabet, and it's I think there's an academic side to it too for kindergartners and first graders.
When a banner's hung up in a school, right? Like they win a title, they put up the banner, whatever else. 9 times out of 10, they put it in alphabetical order. And I always feel bad for the people that are in the bottom half middle of the banner. Because when you're sitting there and you look up at it, you'll read the first 2 or 3 names, and then you're not going to go through the other 15 to 25 kids. You just don't do it. So I always feel bad because you'll see
they never hang a banner with 25 names in a gym.
You don't think so?
No. What team has 25 guys on it?
I don't know, baseball, football. There's banners.
Well, we don't hang baseball and football banners in gyms.
Where do you put them?
Nowhere. Only the gym sports go in the gym.
You don't have any banners for other sports.
We do, but for team. but we don't. They don't.
You don't
list
put the individual names on it. Like if Montoursville has Montoursville ever won a state title in football?
baseball. We
They
lost
won
in the state
baseball.
finals.
And there's no banner with kids' names on it.
There's a
winning state
picture in the
title
hallway.
Montoursville.
There's a banner that says
And it
1985
just
baseball
has
state
the-
championship.
Well, this is why you don't think it's a problem then. The point I'm making is
I do get what you're
when
saying.
you're trying to recognize a group of people, the alphabetical, and I understand you got to do it like someone's getting the short end of the stick. Like I
Right.
get that. The alphabetical order, I just always like if your name's like a R, like it's just you're just kind of lost in history. Like you're just when people look up at the banner, you're just kind of in the shuffle and no one's actually seeing it. That's all. And again, this is coming from someone who was an E. Like this
right,
is coming
no,
from somebody who was like near the
It's in the
Love it.
lot in life. It's really not that bad.
really.
It's like being the middle child. You know what you always are forever? The middle child. Sorry. Like, what are you gonna do?
Do
You
like
can.
it better?
You have a choice. You can kill off one of your siblings. That's your option.
Do you? Well, I was gonna say, do you like it better than seniority? Because I had teachers that used to do like sometimes they would do birthdays and they would do reverse birthday and then like different things. They'd say like line up by month of your birthday. You never had that? So like if you're like a January birthday, go up in line by the door.
If you're hanging a banner of a state champ, say a basketball team, because I think Williamsport does that.
Correct.
Williamsport has banners with the names on it. If you're going to start with the seniors and list it like senior Jeff Everett, senior, and then go, I'm good with that because probably the seniors contributed more than the junior. That's usually how it works out.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is I don't think there's a good way to do it. Like I realize someone is getting the short end. It's just funny that we have decided that like alphabetical is just like the standard. Like someone somewhere decided the best way to sort these people out was to just go A to Z.
I'll tell you what
That's all
I
I'm
think.
saying.
The more I coach, the more I think we need to do the opposite. Because you get, especially like in high school, the freshmen have to carry the stuff, and the freshmen, the more I'm around, I think it should be the other way around. I think that the seniors should be there to look out for the freshmen and to take care of and the sophomores, and
Sure.
that it should be a protective, big brotherly instead of an arrogant.
No,
I'm in charge and you're not.
I understand what you're saying. Heather said, would you rather be listed alphabetically than be the last person on the list because you sucked the most?
I mean, that there's a fairness to alphabetical that no one can complain. If you start doing it on merit, now people are going to be mad.
Maybe that's my point then, is that the fairness of alphabetical order that everybody praises, that like everybody accepts, is completely shadows over the fact that like there's a lot of unfairness in alphabetical order as well. Like we're just like, well, the fairest way to do it, alphabetical order, and it's like there's a lot of unfairness to it too. I would argue just as much unfairness as there is fairness. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
and it's just funny that's
so now as a coach from here on out, I'm gonna list everything that all my team stuff, everything's gonna be in reverse alphabetical order. I will be the one guy who looks out for those people.
for the Z.
Yeah.
I had teachers that mixed it up, like you said. I had people that said like reverse it today, birthdays, like they did all sorts of different things. But if you're just consistently doing it, I don't know. I don't think it's as fair as people make.
All right, let me ask this, because I've always when we do player introductions, we just do numerical order. They just go down the scorebook.
Sure.
Because in the scorebook, they're listed numerically for ease of the scorebook operators.
Sure.
So you're just like, here are the 5 starters. They just go top to bottom. Do you ever write it out and have them do it in a different order? Like LeBron James is introduced last for his team. Michael Jordan was introduced last, even though they might not have been last in numerical order.
I think we've had both done before.
Okay.
Like in college, we did that. Like clearly the best player
was last
and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the group you have and the team and that kind of stuff. But imagine if the Cleveland Cavaliers were just like alphabetical order, LeBron, you're third. It's like,
no, I get it.
Even Cleveland kind of understands like it's an absurdity to just
I get it.
Do it in
I get it.
alphabetical
Well,
order.
and you do understand that he doesn't play for Cleveland anymore.
Well, yes, but back in the day.
I'm just making fun.
No, it's fine. There's a couple of headlines here. I don't know if you came across anything that you wanted to talk about. They did release some of Trump's taxes. Trump paid $1.1 million in taxes during his presidency, but he paid $0 in taxes in 2020. I haven't had a chance to dive into this yet, I'm gonna dive into it. Like, I'm curious in the sense to just see what they released. But like I said to you yesterday, I will be shocked by none of this.
No, I get it. I'm with you.
Does 1.1 million surprise you that he paid 1.1 million in taxes
while he was president?
during his presidency?
I mean, it sounds like a lot, but how much did he make?
No, I get, yeah.
But before, I'd heard the rumors that he paid $700.
Well, see, that's right. I think there's going to be stuff in here. Obviously, I've said to you before. I think there's going to be stuff in here that people are upset, right? Like, oh, he cheated. But like, everybody of his clout is doing this. Like, there's nobody who's making a lot of money that is not trying to figure out a way to keep their money. They just are. I think the part of this that's going to surprise people is like, he did pay 1.1 million. There's going to be some really shisty things, and there's going to be some really like surprising things, like the fact that he did pay over $1 million.
When your sentence started out, there's going to be some really
Yeah.
I did not think the word was going to be shiesty. I did not hear shiesty
like that word,
coming.
Shiesty?
I did not
like it coming. So I haven't had a chance to dive into it yet. I'm curious to just see what they've actually released and what has come out. But yeah, the 1.1 million, like none of it. The zero doesn't surprise me. The 1.1 million doesn't. Nobody should be surprised by what they're about to read in Trump's tax returns. Nobody.
I mean, is it just clear that now legally, while he was president, we were so inundated with complaints about Trump, things that he said, things that he said, things that he did, things that he said, that you got numb to it. And
totally.
I think the same thing has happened with his legal stuff between what is today, Wednesday, before Friday. There's going to be another legal, either another claim or a result or a judge ruled and you just, no one cares. We're numb.
So you and I have talked a lot because we talked about his NFT stuff. You actually pulled up the numbers and you were talking about how much they've gone up. So you bought a $99, or sorry, was it $990?
I thought it was $99
or $990.
I don't remember.
Okay,
I thought it was 99, but because we talked about how cheap a golf round was, it was almost.
Yes. So this is. I was reading about this yesterday, and there's a side story to these NFTs that are kind of shows. You and I've talked before. We're not sitting here saying Trump is a genius, but there are things that Trump is unbelievably good at, undeniably good at. One of the things that I do think that he is good at is figuring out ways to work the system. These NFTs, and I didn't know this, so when you buy an NFT and people paid, I think it was $990 for it.
Right.
You can essentially purchase or spend less than $1,000 without having to necessarily claim it on your return or saying who it came from or where it came from. There's some like corporate tax in there. Yes. So you already see where this is going. So essentially what Trump did is he created a way for, if you are donating, gifting, giving something to Trump, he has figured out a way to do it where you don't actually have to explain where the money came from. And that's why he wrote off these NFTs at that starting price rather than making
it makes sense.
It makes a ton of sense. And those are the things that just people, again, I'm not saying like people should like want to be Donald Trump, but those are the moments where you go and you're like, oh, he gets things that other people don't.
From he obviously has the entrepreneurial business brain that, like I've always said, there's some, if you're an artist, you walk down the street and you see things that you can draw or you can photograph, or if you're a musician, you hear music and what makes, and if you're one of these entrepreneurial types that have had even just multiple businesses, you're constantly trying to think of ways to make money.
Sure.
And you can, obviously that's been his life, that it's not just been in real estate, it's been in all kinds of aspects. And this is just another one. So it doesn't surprise me.
I think people have I don't want to say where he gets himself into trouble. He gets himself into trouble a lot of ways. I think the thing that bothers me the most about him, like from the entrepreneurial, like money side of it, is that when he comes up with an innovation or an idea like these NFTs, the innovation is not the NFT. The innovation is not something that the purchaser benefits from. The innovation is always how did I just get more money into my portfolio? How did I just gain something for myself. And that is, for me, like, has always been my crux with Trump from like a financial business side.
But don't you think every business is like that, though?
I think
most businesses aren't trying to help society. They're trying to make
I think most businesses are trying to make sure that the good or the thing they are offering you at least aligns with what they are giving you. So they might not give you the best education, but you are getting a degree or an education.
I understand what you're saying.
Like, Trump creates a school and you're not really getting anything out of it, right? And so that has been always, for me, that's always been my personal crux on this side. But I have also always admired like his ability to just like, we'll just start a school, we'll sell steaks, he just kind of tries to do these things because to him that's the best way to profit.
Don't you think? And this isn't just him; this is lots of people that they're better with ideas than follow through. I'm certainly one of these.
Oh, I'm one of those people for sure.
Yeah, the idea is good, but then because I'm sure he's like, well, we'll make this college and we'll do this and he had all these ideas. But then oftentimes either it doesn't go smoothly as you think, or you spin off and like, oh, this idea is better. So I've got this new idea. The college one, maybe not. This one I'm going with.
I would agree with you, but it always feels like the execution of the money works.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You see, it's never like, well, this thing failed and we made no money off of it. Somehow, even when the execution fails, there tends to be dollars behind it that he has made. And so for that reason, I struggle.
You said yesterday there's an NFT sell-off right away, which was expected. Has it started to bounce again?
No. So when you were reading the story, that was the price point. That had already happened over the weekend. So the price points that you were reading to us
it had dropped
was after so at one point it was double what you were reading on.
It'll be interesting to see how it bounces around because it's just like a stock. It'll go up and down.
And I said to you, the other ingenious is he gets, every time one of them is sold, he is getting X amount off.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, but you explained that. So if you bought one and you sell it to me, he gets a commission off the transaction.
Yeah, and that's why I've said to you, like, I just can't imagine that's not, like, because local, Penn State's the easiest example. If you have a Penn State season ticket, like if you have a seat in Penn State, that seat is eventually going to be an NFT. It just is. Because if you're Penn State, that means every time someone sells their season tickets, you are now getting a part of that transaction. Every time that NFT switches hands, you are getting something from it. And so these large stadiums...
And they'll have to, because the immediate thought is you would just do it away from it, but they need the NFT to get into their seat.
Correct.
So you can't just hand them a paper ticket.
So imagine Penn State, how much money they lose in scalping, all of that stuff, where now with the NFT, every time it switches hands, you get something.
And say it's $2.
It doesn't matter. It's $2. They did nothing. They didn't have to do anything.
So out of 100,000 people, 2,000 of those people resold their tickets.
Correct.
So they just made $4,000.
Yep,
for doing nothing.
Without doing nothing, and that's like a minimum.
And that's a small number.
These percentages could be 10%, 15%.
Right.
Who knows what the percentage?
And the fee could be more. Like if you're paying, how much is Penn State season tickets? If you have 4 season tickets at Penn State, and you're paying $1,000 a seat, it's probably, say you're paying $1,000 a seat, and it says in the thing, every time you transfer a ticket, there's a $10 fee. You're not buying your tickets.
Correct.
So
that's the hard. So that's what was funny. Like 2 years ago, people are like selling this art, this NFT artwork, and you're like buying this art, this picture. And that's why, like, people who kind of listen, I'm far from like a specialist, but I have a grasp of it. And that's why I try to explain to people, like, it's not about the visual of the NFT. It's about the fact that it's tracked and it's traced. And so anything in life that switches hands, that a company or organization is going to be able to take a transaction off of that, take a percentage off of that, is going to eventually become an NFT once it's all set up.
Yeah, now I'm just thinking about Penn State football, and it's easy because they have 100,000 people in the numbers. If that started next year, and they put a fee of $10, every time a seat is transferred, it's $10. They would make in excess of 6 figures.
Yes.
Just from that. And they may make 7 figures.
And again, you did nothing.
And they did
I
nothing.
mean, you had to set up the
They have to set up the
NFT and
system. But once they set up the system once, they can use the system year after year after year.
They'll mint the NFTs every season the schedule gets printed out. They'll mint the new NFTs, and that's your seat for that game, and then it moves and
they got to print new tickets anyway, so it's just a different version of the same thing.
And the other thing that happens too is this is a bad example, but I think you'll understand. Let's say Penn State hosts a home playoff game in the next year or two, right?
Right.
And you have your NFT ticket, and it was like one of the biggest games in the history of Penn State. You still own the ticket. It's like when you take the ticket home and you put it on the board, and it's your ticket. You still own the NFT. So now it becomes a collectible. So now, like, you're a collector, whatever else. Here, this was a front row seat the day Penn State won the first ever home playoff football game.
Right.
And now, like, someone wants it because it's a collectible, and so now they swap it. So now, like, it could be 20 years down the road, and every time a Penn State collectible ticket is sold, guess who gets a percentage of it? Penn State. And that's why, like, the NFT.
No, I get what you're saying.
That is why it is. I don't want to say it's inevitable, but it is like it's happening. It's coming. Like, it has to. There's too much money to be lost if they don't do it. Really?
No, I agree. And it's a lot. It is a lot of money.
Yes.
Yeah. It'd be fascinating to see how, because I mean, we're on Facebook and you're just like, hey, I have 4 seats available for the Michigan State game. I have this, I have a parking pass. I have all this. Parking passes could be in it.
Yeah.
Because they're valuable too.
Correct.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And obviously there are few things in life like Penn State football where you have 100,000 people.
Sure.
So to do it for, a Bucknell basketball game, they're still going to do it, and they're still going to make money. Now, Penn State's going to make 7 figures off it. Bucknell might make 5.
Sure.
But to put $10,000 back into the basketball program is.
And you know how much it's going to cost them to mint an NFT? And mint just means certified.
Right.
Like, just
probably not
one of one.
Probably not very much.
It's going to be significantly cheaper
than printing tickets.
It's coming.
The setup the first time will be cumbersome.
Yeah.
But once other people have done it, like it, they'll be able to buy. Yeah. It won't be. It's coming. It's coming.
A couple of other things here. Zelensky is actually on his way to Washington, the president of Ukraine. He's going to speak to Congress today about the $45 billion that's in the federal funding bill for Ukraine.
Okay.
So he's coming to talk. Some people, obviously, if you're Zelensky, obviously, you're coming to talk because you need the $45 billion. Some people are also saying, though, it's a defiant gesture towards Russia. Like, essentially, like, you're willing to let this person come in and talk to your Congress about $45 billion. I would be curious to ask Fitzgerald about this. If another world leader has ever been allowed to speak to Congress over a federal bill, like a funding bill in which they are receiving money.
Is this precedent setting? That's interesting. That is interesting. It is a good historical question for him. It's a good historical question for anyone that knows. But, yeah, he is our guy that knows.
Magnitude 6.4 earthquake yesterday in Northern California.
I saw that.
I had mentioned that to you. There is a really good, just as a side, just was scanning through. Netflix they do all these documentaries. Netflix just did one on a volcano in New Zealand. Do you remember, like 2 or 3 years ago, a volcano erupted while people were actually on the volcano?
Huh.
So Netflix did this like 1.5 hour long documentary that has like the footage. They interview the survivors.
People survived?
People survived. It is unbelievably graphic isn't the word, but at the end of it, my palms were kind of sweaty. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of.
They didn't have live footage of it, did they?
Oh yeah, they have live footage, like, of them on the volcano.
From people with their phones and stuff.
Yes. Now here's the thing. Now, I did not know this. Apparently, not all volcanoes, when they go off, like, it's not just like this spew of lava. Like, it's heat and energy, and it can be spewed, for lack of a better word. It can be spewed in different ways or manners. So, for example, this volcano, when it erupted, it was mostly hot water and steam that came up out. So essentially what happened was So essentially what happened was after it erupted, a wave of steam like came over the people.
And
So there was
burned
still
people.
ash, there was still smoke and ash and all that, but it wasn't like this dripping. The movies have fooled us, essentially, is what has happened. We have this idea that every volcano that erupts, it's just got to be this rush of lava just like rolling down the volcano. And that is not the case.
Well, and I know also, like, it's not like a bottle where it all comes out the top.
Correct.
Like, I remember when Mount St. Helens blew, it kind of blew out the side.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes the lava does come up, but it doesn't all come out the top. Like, it comes out, it kind of
Okay. Well, this
wafts.
one's
Waft
unique.
isn't the right word, but it just
Yeah.
comes through the ground some places too. It
Yes.
doesn't all blast up the funnel.
So this one's unique because it's in the middle of the ocean. And the way the crater is, you can walk right up to the opening. So most of the times, like you said, we have this picture of a funnel. And in order to like look down in, you would need to like go to the top of this funnel. Because of the way this is on the ocean, and you can walk right up, and you're kind of like in the funnel. Like you're kind of like right there on the edge of it, and you can see just kind of like the smoldering of the volcano. It's really, really interesting. The first half an hour, you kind of meet the people, the survivors. You're going through there telling you about how they got to the island, all this stuff. And then the last hour is really like half of it is like just mind-blowing experience, because how many people have ever been on a volcano when it erupted? It's
not me.
It's honestly, listening to people, you can tell they have a hard time explaining it because there's no comparison. There's nothing to just be like, it was almost like there's nothing like it.
Right.
And then the second half of it is a survival story. So it's about the efforts that were made to try to survive and get off the island. And
so while you were watching this, I was watching A Muppet's Christmas.
I love them up. It's little. You had a little Michael Caine, did you?
It's really good. My daughter told me that when Michael Caine agreed to do it,
okay,
he basically said, and have you ever heard of any of this?
I know very little about
the
things
making
that surround the movie.
When they got Michael Caine to do it, and it's from '92. I think it's the 30th year anniversary, which may be why it's on Disney Plus right now, and that may be why it's on. But that Michael Caine said, if I do it, there's not going to be any funny slapstick-ish with the Muppets. Like, I'm doing a Shakespearean type performance. Mm-hmm. And they said, whatever, if you do it, you do whatever.
Sure.
And he was great. Every time I see it, I noticed this last night too, because I've only seen the Muppets one maybe 2 or 3 times now. As a kid, it's the Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Future. In the movie, they call, and I've never read the book. Did you ever read the book?
I've never read the book.
It is the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come.
Uh-huh.
So it's not future, it's yet to come, which is way more poetic.
Sure.
So I caught that last night, which I never caught before.
Okay.
Yeah, every time I watch it, all I can think of is how brilliant the concept of the story is.
Yeah.
It is it's so simplistic. The novel itself was actually a novella because it was so short.
Yeah.
But the whole premise is just brilliant.
Yeah. I still think Gonzo and the Rat Gonzo and the Rat should just have a series where Gonzo and the Rat just tell you stories. Like, they just take you through
from history.
Yes. Like, you should just take the best novels or novellas and just have the Muppets do it, and it's just Gonzo and the Rat are your narrators.
Well,
they're your guides.
I tell you, and maybe this is the stupidest tangent we've ever gone on. And by the way, when you said before, he's like, this is a bad example. That should be one of the subtitles for our show. This is a bad example, but she said there's a trend somewhere on, maybe this is just for theater people. My daughter, the one who criticized my inability to alphabetize.
Yeah.
That they take, you take historical things like this and Muppetize it.
Okay.
And so you cast. So we were doing It's a Wonderful Life and trying to cast the Muppets as to who's going to play which part, and then above and beyond, there's that one real life person.
Yeah.
Now in this one, there were a couple real life people. His love interest, Ebenezer's his nephew. There were a couple real life people, but it was mostly Muppets. Yeah. But so we spent the other night at the dinner table casting It's a Wonderful Life with Muppets and one real person. And
I love this game. I would like to participate in the next game.
It's really fun.
The next time you play this game, I would love to be involved.
If you get an ensemble cast, a big show,
sure,
and people who it is, because where you place the real person, like we had an intelligent, I don't want to say intense, but we were all in for about 20 minutes with every character. Well, if this person's this and this person, who would be the real person? And so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like it. I'm jealous that we're probably going to play that game at some point over the holidays. I like that game. Really quick, it might be Michael Caine's best movie. His ability to emote every emotion perfectly from his short yet caring banter with his nephew to his disdain and growth through the ghost. It's masterclass. So to your point, it is a Shakespearean performance.
Oh, he's like
really, really.
You would have thought it.
He said the same thing too. How do I get in on that casting meeting? So we are in. Whatever this game
I'll have to go home.
Meeting is.
I'll have to go home and because the other aspect is like with Fozzie, we had Fozzie in like 3 roles.
Sure.
And then you're like, well, he can't have 3 roles.
Right.
So which one, if we take Fozzie away from this one, where's the real person? Okay, now, so this is how, so we need a real person for this character. I get and who's the real person?
Right.
Like they had Jack Black in the one Muppet, the Muppet movie, I guess they remade.
Oh.
Yeah, it was, it was really fun.
It's
really fun. It's one of my daughter's good ideas.
I haven't watched it yet, so I'm excited because I watch it every Christmas. So I'm excited to finally watch it.
It's a Wonderful Life.
No, Muppets Christmas Carol.
Do you watch It's a Wonderful Life? Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. It's just not a. I think it's really, really good. I wouldn't put it like for you, it's one of the best movies ever made. For
you know why?
People,
because it's one of the best movies ever made.
Yes. You and I talked about this yesterday too. You are famous for declaring something, and then when I say why, because it is, which is.
I don't know what else to say.
I don't know what to tell you. It is.
I will say this: when I made a post the other night about The Sound of Music, and when people come on and tell me The Sound of Music is one of their favorite movies, granted, I've still never seen it all the way through. I don't get that. I cannot imagine why The Sound, unless there's a nostalgic, like I grew up watching it with my mom or my grandmother or somebody, then I get it. Beyond that, I don't get
it. Here's our question for the day. This comes from our viewer, Rance Mahaffey. Okay. Rance wants to know, if you could switch lives with anyone in the world, who would you be? Do you want me to? I actually told you pre-show. He says, because mine would be Justin Timberlake.
He might have taken the correct answer.
Really?
Well, first of all, obviously he can sing.
Well, hold on.
He can dance.
Slow down. Let's backtrack. Can we lay out the criteria? Because I have some serious.
Do we have a criteria?
Well, so here's my questions. Are you being someone for a day, or are you being somebody?
Oh, forever?
Forever, or is this like a year?
I don't know.
Because I
think now we're overthinking it.
No, that changes everything.
It does?
Everything. There's a huge difference between being somebody for a day and then taking on their life.
I mean, I guess we should ask Rance how he sees it. So you're saying if you took on the life, if you lived Justin Timberlake's life, you would be like, yeah, this is rough.
I don't know because some of the other things I wrote down here. I wish I could sing. It's the number one thing I'm jealous of. When I hear somebody who can sing, immediate jealousy, because like there is a little bit of you have it or you don't. You can get better. You can improve,
absolutely.
But you have it or you don't have it. So there are people in the world that have these unique talents where for like a day, I would just be like, yep, like I'll do that for a day. Like I'll be that person for a day because they just have this thing that I cannot duplicate. Forever, like for a year, eesh, like I don't know if
it would suck to be able to sing forever.
No, I'm saying though, like, is that the thing that you've put ahead of everything else? Like you go, he can sing, and it's like, so that's the thing that you're gonna decide.
Let's start it with this then. Tell me why it's not Justin Timberlake, and let me make the case first. This is what you're trying to argue.
Okay.
First of all, as you said, everyone's jealous of people who can sing. I don't think
everyone, but a lot of us.
A lot of people. I especially from a white male standpoint, we're jealous of guys who can dance.
Okay.
And he can. And 90% of us can't. So there's 2. Number 3, he can act.
Okay. But
If you've seen, hold on, he's good at. I'm not done yet.
Well, no, I'm going to let you finish. The 3 things you've mentioned so far are 3 things that I might not put at like the top of my list. Like,
but he does this at like a world-class level.
I understand, but like if I'm getting to do it for a day, great. But like if I'm like, is that the thing that I want changed? Like, do I want it? Like, are those the most important things that I want changed in my life?
Let me
I
add.
don't know.
I'll just throw this out,
Go
just
ahead.
for all the guys like you who don't care if you can sing and dance and act.
Okay.
He's a super golfer. Super golfer.
How many
guys? How many guys, if they're one thing, and be like, I wish I could go shoot 72.
Wait, are you claiming Justin Timberlake can shoot a 72?
He's really good golfer.
But he can shoot a 72.
I know that there was a pro-am tournament somewhere.
Okay.
And they're like, this course is so hard. Okay. They're like, the only amateurs that are going to break 100 are Romo and Timberlake.
Okay.
And I think like Justin Timberlake is a really good golfer.
Okay.
And just add to the fact. Now we'll get to the things in life that are important. Do you know the women he's been with?
Okay.
Do you know like his
list
of people of girlfriend?
But there's lots of people with less responsibility that get to play golf and do the thing that you just said.
Not with the women that he's been with.
There's people.
Really?
You don't. Here's the other part of it too. You're like, there's a lot of beautiful people that are not famous. Like,
I get that.
Okay, so like the idea that a celebrity, regardless of sexual orientation, has an up because the beautiful people they're sleeping with are famous, rather than sleeping with the beautiful people that aren't famous. Like,
they have an up.
I don't know.
And don't get me wrong. I think the famous people are probably even crazier than the normal people.
Here's the point.
So there's baggage that comes with it, but still, it's baggage I'd carry for a little while.
So this was the argument. I think everything that you said for a day, sign me up. I think he's in the top of the list of who you would want to be for a day. The point that I'm making, though, and why I think it's important to sign is to be Justin Timberlake for more than a day. Like, to be Justin Timberlake for a year, for 5 years, for a life, there are responsibility efforts that you have to put forth every day. Like, this is not like you are being somebody and you are hanging out on the beach, most of the year. Like, you have...
when he's hanging out on the beach? Whenever he wants to.
Yeah, but guess what, Mark? He doesn't. So
clearly
that's not the
case.
No,
I get it. But
so again, I think that's why it's important of kind of like, what's the timetable here? Like, is this a year? Is this more? Not like, I'm just saying.
All right, so who are you picking?
So real quick, got to go with Jamie Foxx. He's an upgraded Justin Timberlake.
Is he?
Is he? Have you ever heard Jamie Foxx stories?
No.
He lives, it's like, how do I explain this? Jamie Foxx knows everybody and is everywhere all at once. It's weird. Like, Justin Timberlake's circle is probably smaller than Jamie Foxx's. Jamie Foxx, and here's the other part, because I thought about this. I adore Jim Carrey. I really like Jamie Foxx. You know my affinity for stand-up comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there something about getting to be somebody who can just make everybody laugh and smile and enjoy themselves? Like, to me, Jamie Foxx might have a leg up on Justin Timberlake because
he's funny.
He can melt everybody with a joke. He can make everybody laugh and smile. I think there's a point to this question where you want to be somebody that's funny, maybe more so than somebody that's unbelievably good looking, a really good singer, a dancer, an actor. Like, I think a comedian might actually be the answer. The right comedian, but a comedian might be the answer.
Maybe. No, that's a valid point.
What about just somebody with a lot of money who has no actual responsibilities? Like, someone who doesn't have to go on tour next month.
No, I do.
No?
Because I tell you, I don't know why. Someone had mentioned this. Do you remember when Joe Smith was in the last time and he talked about how too much money, people that like win the lottery and their stress level? So I Googled that this morning because it just resonated.
Just randomly Googled it.
Because he said it the last time he was here.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to look that up and do. And for whatever reason, it relodged today.
Okay.
And I Googled it this morning, and there are experts who've interviewed all these lottery winners. And they said on a stress level of 1 to 100, winning the lottery is like an 80.
Okay.
And they talked about how many people were miserable.
That's not knowing what to do once you win it, though, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's the aspect that they left their normal life.
But here would be the difference with this, because I think you're on like dead right. I think you're onto something. The difference with this, though, is when you win the lottery, it is not a choice. You hope you win the lottery, but you don't get to choose when you win the lottery.
But I'm not saying in this. I'm saying when you said about a guy who was just rich and could sit around and do whatever he wants.
Correct.
But
what I'm saying to you, though, is like those people. I'm trying to think how I want to say this. They won it. They worked for it, whatever the case may be. But there was like a process to it happening. Whereas this, you're just kind of like that. Like you're getting to pick. Like you're like,
I see where you're pointing.
You see where I'm going.
I see what you're saying. Yep.
So I don't know if those stresses would carry over or not if you're getting to pick to be that person. Couple of comments. I'd say month, long enough to enjoy the good stuff, but not too long to mess it up. Yeah, I think that's kind of my thing here. Like I think there's two very different. Other part of it too was time period. Like if you wanted to be
Elvis, you don't want to be old, fat, drug addicted Elvis. You want to be the young, hot, being financially taken advantage of. Do I get to be
Elvis today, or do I have to be Elvis in 19?
He's dead now.
You're missing the point. Do I get to be Elvis? Like, do I get to be 20-year-old Elvis in 2022, or do I have to be 20-year-old Elvis in 19 whatever?
No, I get what you're saying.
That changes a lot too.
Yeah, you would have to be Elvis in his heyday. Elvis now, 20-year-old Elvis now would be nobody.
You don't think so? You think he's like the greatest singer ever?
Well, he was for a time.
I'm just shocked you said that because you are you think his voice. You don't.
Oh my God!
Like for some people, there's the spectacle of Elvis, but you actually
he
think
can
his voice
sing.
was. I'm not saying he couldn't. I'm just saying you of all people really like pedestal.
But I think he fit the time. Madonna fit the time.
Mm-hmm.
But now that there's been others, Madonna wouldn't work now because Gaga's been along.
Okay.
And so there are other people. And to take like the racial part out of it, but like a guy like Drake or all these other guys, they don't work back then because it's just different. So many of these people in life hit their, Run DMC's this hip hop Hall of Fame group. They wouldn't work now.
I agree. Aren't there people in history though that were ahead of their time, or vice versa, were maybe just a little bit too late?
Sure.
So wouldn't it behoove you to be one of those people? To like today or like moved up in the timeline? No.
That would be an interesting. Who is timeless that would work whenever?
I mean, if you were a professional athlete before 1995, I mean, you made half of what you would have made in the year 2022.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, there are athletes that if you could be that athlete but be them today in 2022,
agreed.
It would be absurd.
Agreed.
Wow, the disrespect towards JT, Justin Timberlake. I feel like JT can hit up just about anyone. So there you go. So someone's on board with you. Do you have a number one? I know this was
as a kid. Whenever we discuss this, because we kids growing up were full of depth.
Sure.
The answer was Hugh Hefner. That was the answer. If you could be anybody in the world, you wanted to be Hugh Hefner. Although you hear, like, there were some really good things about Hugh Hefner. There were some, he was sometimes not you hear how possessive he was of the girls in the mansion. Like, it was not the loveliest place ever. But still, I don't know. That is you would have to break it into categories. Like, what did you want to be? If you want to be an athlete.
Yeah. Well, I think the category maybe want with you, not just so much what you want to be, but what you can't be, right? Like if you're doing this, don't you want to find somebody? It's not about what you want to be. Don't you want to find something that you can't possibly? So like we already did a singer, right? Like I can't be a singer. I just can't do it. Like a freak athlete, like somebody who has the measurables, right? To just do like freakishly athletic things. Well,
that's what I would think you would pick a basketball player.
I don't know though, because like if I did it though, it would have to be somebody. I would do it not so much because they're a basketball player. I think I would do it because they would have physical gifts that I lacked, and I would want to see what it is like to have those physical gifts. So again, it's not for me. It's not so much what I want to be; it's what I'm not. Did that make sense?
Yes, but so the question is, would you, because we all have kind of like our chosen fields of interest.
Right.
So would you want to be one of the elites in that interest, or would you want to be one of the elites in something that you had no skill in at all?
That's a good point too. So like down here, like I had singer, I also had the like just good looking. Like, would you just want to be somebody that's just better looking than you?
Sure.
Well, because
does anyone say no to that?
But I think you're missing my point. What I'm saying though is like we keep talking about skills. Like we keep talking about
if that was your that wouldn't be the number one for anybody.
What I'm saying, right? But think about this though. There is an intrinsic value to it because it's something that you can't. For the most part, it's not something you can better yourself.
No, you can't. I know what you're saying.
So like if you're getting a chance to just swap it out, like this, I don't know if I would be very. If I had time to think it out, I think I would try to find things that I couldn't improve upon myself. And one of those would arguably be like that you can only improve your attractiveness so much, right? Like it is what it is.
I would think that you would have a tough time finding someone who didn't pick whoever they were picking, that the person wasn't attractive.
Okay, so you're
with all the other characteristics that go into it.
Wow.
Like,
so you're saying that no matter what that person is capable of, you don't think a person would swap with them if they weren't already more attractive than them themselves?
Yeah. Say you wanted to like a comedian-ish, an actor, comedian, celebrity, something like that. You would not pick an ugly one. You would pick a Jamie Foxx-ish as opposed to Louis C.K.-ish.
Interesting. So you're just
and I'm not saying Louis C.K.'s ugly, but he's not. You get my point.
No, I get your point. Interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Like the skill not mattering as much as just the fact that person.
I think it's kind of the overall.
But it is
interesting.
What about like mental skills? Because I have a horrible memory and I can't read very quickly. So to me, like.
I can't read quickly.
If you could show me like a good-looking person who's wealthy, who has a great memory and can read fast, that would be very appealing to me. No.
But if you're picking, this has gone crazy. This has gone weird science-ish on it. Did you ever see Weird Science?
You asked me this like a week ago.
Oh, what was your answer a week ago?
I
obviously didn't listen to your answer.
No.
Yeah, but if you're picking, you would never pick someone who can read fast over someone who's funny. If you're prioritizing, again, you wouldn't pick an idiot, but Jamie Foxx isn't an idiot. Justin Timberlake, like these guys are smart.
I think it depends on, I think that's why it was so crucial, like the day or the life. Because if you're picking for the day, you're exactly right. You're picking the good looking, funny guy every time over the things I just said. If you're talking about like over the span of a life, I don't know. Like, I feel like getting up on stage and making people laugh might wear out after a while. Wouldn't it be better off to be like a good-looking person with? Well,
that's a point that I want to get back to. I do need to mention Alyssa Milano turned 50 yesterday.
Thank you.
And she is like, for my generation, like Sam Minnelli was. Yeah. But anyway, wasn't that her name? Sam Micelli. But whatever. All right. What did you just say? And repeat it again, because I had a good point.
Thank you guys for watching the video.
No,
I said to you, we were talking about good-looking people. I love now I have to remember what you were supposed to respond to. We're talking about good-looking people responding. This has gone off the rails completely. I don't remember. You had to talk about Alyssa Milano.
I don't know why Alyssa Milano popped into my head when we were talking about good-looking people, and she's 50. And wait till you're 50, and then you'll appreciate this more.
So that's what I have. I don't have a number one. Like, I feel like a lot of people would have like a celebrity or a hero or somebody that they would like pick. I had about 2 hours to think about this, and I never, like, one person never stood out to me. Is that weird?
No, I don't think it's weird at all.
Do you think most people have the answer?
Because I mean, Timberlake's a good answer. Whoever I come up with is not going to be better than Timberlake. The other aspects, you'd have to come up with more parameters because, like, if you want to be an NFL quarterback, you pick Tom Brady because
I don't think I would.
Okay, well, then you're dumb. But you also understand he's gone through a failed relationship with the Moynihan chick, whatever, that he is a child to, and then now he's gone through a divorce. So there's been struggles. But also, you're right. Or do you get to pick? Is he 30-year-old Tom Brady or is he 45-year-old Tom Brady? And where do we get to pick? Because if I'm picking an NFL quarterback for a career, I'm picking Tom Brady. But if I'm picking him in 2022, I'm picking Mahomes because he's young. And who wouldn't want to be young?
Can we stay with Tom Brady, though? Because this is kind of the thing that people don't think about. And I think there's a little bit of Justin Timberlake with this as well. If I can be Tom Brady on Sunday, awesome. I would love to be Tom Brady for a Sunday. Play in a game, kiss babies, it's all great. If I have to be Tom Brady on like a random Tuesday in the preseason, like, I don't know, do I really feel like running sprints and having like 300-pound guys like chasing?
No, I get it.
Like, I just think there's aspects to some of this that people just go, oh, Justin Timberlake. And it's like, I'm sure Justin Timberlake's life is fantastic. I'm not downplaying his life. I'm just saying, like, if I get one chance to like swap it out with somebody, I don't know if I'm picking a dude that like rehearsals and tours and like, it's like, I just don't know if that's what I'm doing for the next.
Well, I will say this.
You get what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that's what I'm doing.
I think we talked about this when we talked about the Frank Girardi statue that they just did a couple weeks ago, that he, with all his success at Lycoming College, that he was wise enough or balanced enough or whatever to say, like, I'm happy here. This is good for me and my family, and I'm just going to stay here forever. And because I know that the grind of my brother's Hall of Fame baseball career, and one of the things when he retired, and I was trying to talk him out of retirement, and he's like, dude, if I never get on a plane again, it will not be.
Totally.
And the kind of the this is going to sound trivial, but the toll of carrying everything in carrying luggage in his left hand because he doesn't want to, he makes sure he doesn't accidentally hurt it. Because you hear those things like guys that cut their finger on the, he opened every doorknob with his left hand because in case, you can't cut your, and like when you're a performer like that, not just an athlete, but these people on stage and stuff, that there's this constant stress of maintaining your body.
The word you're looking for is unrest. There's an unrest to your day to day.
Yes, and it is constant. And for 9 months out of the year, it is constant. That, what am I eating? When am I sleeping? When am I this? There's not, because they don't get weekends.
Sure.
They play on weekends, and there's so yes, there is a grind of a day to day to day to day that these people live with. And I think what would also be fascinating is if people could do it for a month or do it for a year or a long enough time that they're like, yes, this is a year in Tom Brady's life, like you said. Yeah, he gets to go out on Sundays and kick people's ass and everyone's like, he's the greatest ever.
Right.
But how much film study is he doing during the week? And to see the price of fame is, like, as you said, Timberlake isn't sitting on a beach.
No.
He's working. He's working on, and it might be a short game. He might be chipping and putting all day, but that's how you get good.
I think the best way that I can explain it is I think my lists would be completely different of who I would want to be for a day and who I would want to be for a year. And I don't think there's any crossover. Like, I think the people I would put on the day, I don't even think I would go near for the year.
You're probably right. The more you dig into this, the more intelligently you dig into this, I agree with you. Yeah. I think you would have, there might be a little crossover, but.
So the person, for Rance, who said Justin Timberlake, I think for a day, awesome. I think it'd be really cool to be Justin Timberlake.
If I had to give it a go as somebody else, you could sign me up for Timberlake.
do I get to be like retired Timberlake? Can I be like, do I get to be?
Why do you want to
No?
be retired Timberlake?
Retired Timberlake sounds amazing. It sounds like I get all the benefits of what you said with none of the actual hassle.
Yeah, but then
That's
but
what
you
it
don't.
sounds like.
But you don't. Then you get to be who Justin Timberlake was. You don't really get to be Justin Timberlake. Like, if you're not on stage, you're not Justin Timberlake.
Well, listen, we can do a spot performance,
You can-
like in the like. I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying we're dead.
No, I get what
I'm
you're
just
saying.
like, if I get to be like laid back, retired Timberlake, I do like half a dozen like performances across the country every year. Like, yeah, like cool, like that's cool. But I don't want to be Justin Timberlake like in the thick of it, like in the prime of it. Like that's. I just think people don't realize the mental and physical capacity it takes to actually be some of these people. Like the treadmill that these people are on.
The treadmill is very well said. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, I can only imagine.
Thank you guys for watching the Midday Show. Be sure to go to NorthcentralPa.com for all of your local news. And the holidays are coming. They're fast approaching. It's almost here. Weis Markets has what you need. Grocery rewards, gas rewards. If you need to fill up before the colder weather this weekend, if you need some stocking stuffers.
It is going to get cold.
It is going to be very cold. If you need hot cocoa, if you need the Christmas ham, whatever it is you may need before this weekend, be sure to go to Weis Markets to find it all.
And if you need those snacks like popcorn, as you said, hot chocolate, a little soda for when you're watching It's a Wonderful Life or A Muppet's Christmas,
yes,
you will have them right there or Christmas Vacation. I got to pop that one in before Christmas.
I watched the first half of it and then I got distracted, but it was up on the screen the other day. I wanted to mention a good friend of mine who we both know, Jimmy Webb, young Jimmy Webb. He saw Spirited, the Will Ferrell, Ryan Reynolds movie.
Oh, okay. I was thinking.
Okay. He says, not good.
Ooh.
Yes.
Not what I was expecting. I thought he was going to give it away thumbs up.
He says not good. So now I'm a little. Here's the thing, though.
You're hesitant.
Well, no, the opposite. I think he did me a favor because I was.
Because you'll lower.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think he did this intentionally, but I think he helped me. I think I'm going to enjoy the movie more now because
any laugh you get now is like a bonus.
Yeah, and I'm going to be like, Jimmy, that idiot. Like, this is great.
No, that is interesting.
So we'll see.
Is he the only one you know that's seen it?
He's the only one in the last week or so that has reached out and said to me that he's the first person I've heard say it's not good.
And he might be a victim of it's so good.
That.
It's so good.
He might have sacrificed himself for me.
He did.
To enjoy this.
What a friend.
I have to do my shout outs like I said to you yesterday. Rance Mahaffey gave us the question. Jimmy Webb with the Spirited review. Ryan Bogacek, Bradley Walters. Who else do you want to shout out?
I'm not shouting. I don't think
Cliff Young.
I don't want. Oh, my daughter who
today.
told me that I was too stupid to know what alphabetical order was.
You don't want to shout out your daughter?
I just did.
That was your shout out. Heather Myers for commenting today. The Facebook group users, unfortunately, I can't shout you out, but yeah, just a shout out. My mom watches almost every day. Who else do you want to shout out? You don't have any.
I really don't think the people want to know that they're like, that they listen.
Bogue says I'm going to get a shout out from Mark soon too.
Oh yeah, well he doesn't care about.
He doesn't at all.
He doesn't care if people know he listens. He's already sacrificed any public image that he has. So here we go.
Thank you guys for watching the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Bever. He's Mark Messina, and we will see you guys tomorrow.